Let me tell you a little story, got some news I want to share. Let's discuss a world of politics and ideas we can't compare. Let me give you some perspective on the way things seem to be. Moving forward with our medicines and all technology. That the world is full of stranger things that we can't comprehend. Fool creatures from another world and conspiracies, my friend. Tell me more about the chemicals that are active in our brains. When we feel the thing that we call love ties is up in chains. On the JAG Show. On the JAG Show. On the JAG Show.
Yeah. Welcome. Yes.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the JAG Show. I am one of your horses.
Yes, that's correct. Please continue.
Damn it, I'm not even drunk. I'm one of your hosts, JD Marcel. Hey, where's my fucking thing?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Manchester United.
For everyone, this is the cheer. This is the Manchester United cheer.
That looks like the cheer that Jimmy does. Yeah. You do that so effortlessly, Jimmy. Of course, the guy taking a fucking huge ass dick in his mouth is Jimmy. What's up, Jimmy?
Hey.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey. Got the searchlight looking for you. Oh.
All right. Of course, we got Angel in the fucking house. What's up, Angel?
What up?
Happy motherfucking zombie Jesus Day, everybody.
Yeah.
That's actually factual. Did you just say get high all the time? Yeah, well, don't judge.
Oh,
Hey, quarantine.
Judge.
Hey. And then we got Dre Day all day. What's up, Dre? What's going on, man?
Hey.
Yes.
So I can't fuck the pain away because I fucked up my back and I'm just trying to get repairs. So I think I fucked it too much. So right now.
Oh, damn.
You got the sciatica,
bro.
That's
Hey,
sciatica.
you have to take it really slow when you try pegging, dude.
Hey, bro.
You have to take it real slow.
All I'm saying is it didn't work. You know, fucking the pain away did not work. Just
It's
don't
only
try
inch by inch, bro.
It's only 1 inch at a time, man. And of course, we got a special guest today. I know him as well, Kay. But introduce yourself, man. Go ahead and tell everybody who you are.
Everybody could just call me Lover Boy. Go by Lover Boy. My name is a secret, as always. What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us today, man.
Cheers.
Hell yeah.
Everybody's doing all right. What's up?
Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. We got Tusk. We got Layman's hanging out with us. In the chat.
Hey, shout out to everybody joining us today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining in, Lover Boy. We really appreciate it, man. We got an interesting show today. Well, sort of. Again, another quarantine episode.
Yeah.
Quarantine. Yes.
Another.
I like that I finally got you to stop telling.
Just a different room.
Hey, man, we may be separated by distance, but we're connected right now.
We're talking right now over the internet.
We're talking.
Yeah. Right now, I'm metaphorically touching all of your penises right now.
Yes.
Wow. Oh, shit.
Hell yeah.
Hey, wait, what?
So let me start off because I know this is another.
Yes.
Homosexual.
I like that. So this is another episode of the Quarantine JAG Show. Lover Boy, let me know or let everybody know like what's going on, like how you holding up with all of this COVID-19, man, and what you think about what's going on with the fucking world and how it's coming crashing to a fucking ground right now.
That's a very loaded question, actually, because there is a lot of debate over what's happening. So I could just tell you what's going on with my personal world, personally. Personally, it's been a struggle. I'm a very social person, and just being alone sometimes is tough, as it is for a lot of people. So I'm glad you guys had me on your show to be able to speak. And as far as what's actually going on, well, that's up for debate tonight. And I hope we're able to discuss and able to kind of hammer out what everyone's feeling, what everyone's actually like on their minds. So able to come to a consensus of what actually is happening out there. So yeah.
No, yeah. Well, most definitely. And this is we live right now in a world full of adjustment. You know, everybody's trying to get used to this whole thing of like not being able to, or I mean, they can go outside for like essentials, but now I heard today in effect is the law that whenever you do go somewhere, you have to wear a mask. A lot of people already started. If you don't have a mask, you're going to be cited. What do you think about that, man? I mean, this is it's starting to get a little more real.
This is actually a huge debate which I've had with people, because the World Health Organization, have been flip-flopping on their opinion about face masks. At first, they said that it was not important to wear a face mask because it didn't help you either give the virus to someone else or contract it yourself. But now they just completely flip-flopped and they're changed their opinion. You have to wear a face mask now. And when asked about it in public, their fucking speech that they give just makes no sense. They say that at first asymptomatic people, they didn't know that they could give it to other people, but now they're saying that they knew that they did. So it just like it makes zero sense, because we always knew asymptomatic people could give it to other people, but they said masks were useless. But now they're saying it's actually like absolutely essential for you to wear a mask. Like why? Why now? You know?
I actually just to jump in on that, the funny thing about it is that I just kind of feel like measures keep being put out there, and they keep changing the narrative. Every objective just keeps altering just a little bit, and I wonder what's the end all be all. I really don't know, but that's one of the things that we're always going to talk about, right? But it's just interesting to me because I just saw the other day, maybe actually as soon as yesterday, there was a guy that was dragged out of a New York City. I want to say it's the New York City bus. He got dragged out of a bus because he wasn't wearing a mask, and I find that kind of weird, because the thing is that the whole thing is contagion, right? Being able to transmit, right? Contagion. And so they're talking about it in that way, and they want you to wear this mask, right? This like facade that it's not going to allow you to transmit disease. Yet they're grabbing this guy.
They're touching this person
by every single limb. They're pulling him out of their masks are falling off themselves because they're wrestling with this guy instead of peacefully asking him from a 6-foot distance.
Which I'm sure they did. Bus. I bet they got that video. I bet you they got that video right at the end as that fool. Again, that guy didn't. I mean, who wants to? I don't want to be infected, right? Do you want to get spit on? Who doesn't want to get? I mean,
wait.
Try it.
Stop. I might want to get spit on. Thank you.
Now I can't spit in people's mouths as much as I want.
Maybe not on a bus. Okay.
And if this is in America where I can't spit in someone's mouth, I don't want to be in this fucking country. I am leaving, guys.
Here lies the problem, though. Like, people are wearing gloves, they're wearing masks, and then they go ahead and wear these gloves, and they don't have the notion that there's germ transfer. They wear the gloves, the germs are on your clothes.
Agreed.
The clothes travel to your mouth.
You pay with your card. You still touch the card that goes into your wallet.
Yes.
And then when you get home, you take off your gloves, and then what do? You put your wallet in wherever the fuck you put it in your butt.
On your person.
And
I was
in a stripper's butt.
Thinking about that too. I was thinking about that too. I went to go get breakfast earlier today. I went to Carl's Jr. and the whole time that they were fucking giving me the food, I was thinking like, shit, this bag itself could have the fucking virus.
Exactly.
And they just gave it to me. And
you could be eating a coronavirus burger, bro.
They've already said that the virus survives longest on money and on cardboard. So that's what everything gets traveled on. It's like you're fucked. You know, you're literally fucked.
That's funny because that's like every Amazon shipment you receive, which is like how everybody's getting their things now.
Yep.
And money, dude. I mean, short of strippers, you know. Shout out to strippers. Shout out. They're doing God's work.
Strip clubs often, but shout out.
Yeah. I did see that there was a strip club. I think it was like in fucking Nashville, where this guy decided he's like, you know what, man, fuck this. I want my girls to work, and I want to give them jobs. I can't pay them out of my own pocket to do nothing. He's like, but let me do something for them. So he set up like a DoorDash. Or like he set up something like that where he was setting strippers just to deliver food.
No,
nice.
Way.
They would show up, titties out or whatever, and just like make their deliveries. Yeah,
fucking way.
Fucking America, bro.
Wow.
I mean, America, you can't touch them, but you could just keep them
truly
like
American.
Yeah,
that deserves a salute. A salute to America. A salute.
Yeah,
that deserves a salute.
Yes.
That's very innovative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in these times, I mean, people have to be creative as far as like what they're doing and how they're making money.
Yeah,
a lot of what's going on right now, how you're making money is online. You stay at home, you work from home, and you have, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Fans only.
Yeah, fans only. Yeah.
Fucking fans only. But yeah, who knows how long this is gonna last? I also heard
May 15th, I think.
May 15th. Like coronavirus knows dates and
yeah, and I'm out. May 15th. I'm out of here.
Hey, check it out.
Here's the thing, though.
Check it out. Those are the chicks delivering food to you, bro. Those are gonna be the chicks.
What they're basing their dates off of is literally the amount of time they're predicting they're going to be able to come out with the vaccine. So Bill Gates keeps on releasing these comments where he just automatically insinuates that the vaccine is going to be mandatory and you're not going to be able to go to gatherings or to work until after the vaccine.
Correct.
Which is fucking insane because it automatically means that it's going to probably be mandatory for you to be able to A, go to work, or B, go to social gatherings. Like, that's some scary ass shit.
So check it out. This is one of the
mark of the beast, or what?
That's right,
dude. That's where it's going. That's where it's going.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Hey, all I know is we're gonna get pizza for dinner tonight. I think I'm gonna have to order from this spot real quick. Thank you, Angel.
You got it, bro. Don't trip. And there goes Drake.
And the thing is, like, they keep extending it too. I mean, obviously, you know, initially this was the month that, you know, everything was going to go back to normal and, you know, you'd be able to go back to work, whatever. And then they extended it to next month.
Yeah. Even Jesus has to stay inside.
Wow.
And the thing is,
Happy Easter, everybody.
But did he get out today?
Happy Zombie Jesus Day.
Zombie Jesus Day.
Yeah, but the thing is also, like, we got to think about, like, how long it'll take to create this vaccine. If Bill Gates is predicting, you know, that, or if all of them are predicting that they're going to be having that vaccine by, you know, May or whatever. Nah, man, it usually takes a couple of years, if anything, to come up with something. Unless, you know, medical technology has advanced so much within the recent, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, I doubt that they're going to have anything soon. What do you guys think?
So here's what I'll say.
Okay, go Brett.
Here's what I'll say about that.
Right.
We're talking about like that we're not going to be able to go back to any type of normalcy until a vaccine is out there for the general public, right?
Quote unquote the new normal.
What we're seeing also is a power like China has already curved it, and they're moving on themselves without
the vaccine.
But we don't know that for sure. Oh, he's frozen.
Damn. They got him.
Oh, no.
They got him.
Corona got him.
You know why this is you know why this is scary? Because I watched that movie Unfriended last night, the one about the dark web. I'm freaking out.
Hey man, that's where it's at, bro. Whatever, man. Like we're brave, goddammit.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again.
What would you guys do if
bust in?
Yeah, they bust into your and we see fucking Angel B taking down, on hazmat, like get down now.
Not happy.
Here's the thing about China though. I've been to China and it's really scary how much they monitor and censor their people. Like I couldn't log onto any websites. I couldn't log onto anything without using a VPN. Like it's fucking scary. So you don't really know what's happening over there. They could say they're getting over the virus on their own, this and that, but you don't really know as far as what they're releasing to the media, what's really happening out there, you know? Because I went to a rave out there and simply just that, there was military there. And they were limiting everyone in the public to 2 drinks. They were sending everybody with 2 drinks for the whole fucking night.
Were they tall drinks?
Yeah.
They weren't even tall drinks. They were
like tall boys?
They were regular fucking
Can I make that a double or no?
They gave you 2 Zimas.
Bro.
Look, the population of China is fucking insane as it is right now. Obviously, they're one of the most populated, countries in the world. And you know what happens with alcohol, man. You know, shit gets hot and heavy, and you're going to fucking town. So I mean, I kind of understand they don't want that shit. They don't want to fucking baby boom over there because they're gonna fucking run out of space. And
hey, I just had an idea. So you think that the strippers that were delivering food were like getting paid extra to like stay and eat the food with the guy? If you know what I mean.
Oh damn! Have dinner.
I don't know.
I doubt it. I honestly doubt it. I think it's like, thank you.
No sex in the
I already ate.
No sex in the sandwich.
No, maybe they're hungry.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know, unless maybe if they paid a little extra, an extra 100, here or there, then they probably fucking stay. But
so I know how I know how the strippers got around that, right? And especially for this one particular strip club, they were able to find a workaround to where these girls can still work and get money. But what's prostitution like right now, and how has it been affected?
There was.
Do you think these dudes are hungry enough for that ass?
Okay,
that they're risking it all anyway.
Hold on. There was a case in Philadelphia where a guy was arrested. There's been 2 guys arrested. One was a guy that got arrested because he was trying to solicit a prostitute during the quarantine, and another guy was a guy who got tested positive, and he still went out to a bar, and that's how he got in trouble. 2 guys that got arrested.
Damn.
Okay, I can't speak for somewhere else, but I work on Florence and Figueroa, which, if anybody knows, this is the ghetto in LA.
Yes.
Shout out.
So shout out to the ghetto, and I will tell you that I say what's up to the prostitutes every morning because they're there, rain or shine. The prostitutes are fucking there. They're there. Rain or shine, bro.
Hey,
like,
get it, girl?
It's
hey, this rent.
They're hanging with their ass out, fucking just like not cold, not dying. They're immune to everything. They're immune to everything.
Pretty fucking immune, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, they're there, bro. So props to them. Maybe props to them. I get maybe pizza sometimes. It's like, come on, you deserve it.
Nah, hey man, if you're working hard,
can't wait to see that.
Ain't gonna hate on that, you gotta make that rent. You gotta pay daddy, like,
exactly.
Hey man, rent is gotta get paid, baby.
Hey, Eddie's asking. What was that address again?
Just so you avoid
what corner?
The address to avoid, guys.
Right, to steer clear from.
Stay away from the corner of
Florence
and Figueroa.
Hey, we're about to
stay away from Trixie. She is not the one, guys.
Hey, we're about to get our stimulus right now too on Wednesday. Some people, so
I'm still checking my account to see if it's stimulated, bro.
I'm stimulating my account right now. Just being here.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any fucking stimulus.
Stimulate my dick.
I feel like a baby mama. Like, homie, hey,
Yes.
I feel like a baby mama. Like, hey, it's time to get paid. Stimulate my account, bro.
Yeah.
Stimulate that shit. What the fuck?
Yeah, nah, dude, I'm waiting for that shit too, man. That shit's hard. As far as
Jason, what's the first thing you're gonna do when you get that check, baby? Number one. What's the first thing you're gonna do?
Heading to Florence and Figueroa.
Asshole, you beat me to it. You son of a bitch. Oh, you son of a bitch. I swear to God, you took it wrong. You just took it. You just took it. You son of a bitch.
So bitch.
Ah, that was good. Hey, Jimmy, I fucks with you, baby. I fucks with you.
Hey.
Fucking Jimbo. Nah, but
his wife.
As far as Lover Boy, let me ask you something. As far as what you think happened, or what you think is happening in regards to the government, and how do you think they're in control of everything right now? Do you think that they're the reason that this thing spread, or is it just something that happened because some motherfucker ate a bat in China?
I 100% believe this did not happen by accident. Like,
okay.
It's evident that there was a study by the John Hopkins Hospital way before, like in October, which involved the Bill Gates Foundation. If it involved China and the World Health Organization, and they did this study where they would see what would happen if this pandemic would affect society, and suddenly it happens like months later. That's too big of a coincidence for it to not be something that they sparked. You know, it just has to be something that was sparked either by accident, like it got out of control, or by fucking on purpose, where they just wanted to either. There's so many conspiracies out there that it's hard to tell. Either A, fucking just depopulate the earth because it's too overpopulated, or B, they want to form just like a measure of control from one government. And there's just so many conspiracies to choose from that it's kind of hard to kind of assimilate everything and turn it into one thing, because it's just what you might believe as a person when actually might be the truth. But it's up to you. Like I tell everyone to form their own opinion. And I really think that this might be just like an awakening that we're just going through, you know? Who knows?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like we obviously our generation has never experienced anything like this before. There was the fucking swine flu a little while back. SARS came to be a little while back.
Shout out MERS, SARS.
Yeah. SARS,
West Nile.
all of those, but the thing is, those diseases, those sicknesses, those illnesses didn't spread like the fucking coronavirus.
Here's the thing, though.
I prefer the classics like crabs, gonorrhea,
the treatable ones with a shot.
Chlamydia.
You know, you're over
Here's the
it.
thing, though.
They had nice words like the clap.
On the list, like SARS, bird flu, they're more contagious and continue to be on the list more of an epidemic. But it's just that right now, it's harder to discern whether people are dying of regular flu or fucking the COVID-19, because so many people died of the regular flu. Over 57,000 people a year. So people, they're not really counting. They're not giving tests. All they're doing is just writing on paper where their doctors think if it's either A, COVID-19 or regular flu. But these deaths could just accumulate to just the regular flu this month through the year. So no one really knows.
They're saying that even though you died from, say, a fucking heart attack, they'll put like a symptom may have been COVID-19.
Yes,
COVID-19.
Exactly.
And I think that's definitely one of the reasons why people are freaking the fuck out, essentially, because any little thing and it was COVID-19.
Yes.
And any little fucking thing. And so
real quick,
what's up?
Real quick, Grizzly on the chat says that Jimmy's had corona since 2003.
Fucking Jimbo.
Got it.
Oh shit!
Shout out to Grizz. What's up, Grizz? What's going on?
Hey.
That's
pregnant.
Grizz.
Congratulations.
That's the homie.
That's
someone else. That's not Grizz.
That's not Chris?
No, that's not Chris. That's the homie.
That's another Chris.
All right. Either way, shout out to the homie Grizzly.
Shout out to Chris either way.
I was about to say, is Angel gonna take back his shout outs? I was waiting for it, like, damn, that's cold blooded.
Nah. That's not how
we
roll.
But I don't have coronavirus. I took a shot. It wasn't coronavirus. I took a shot for something else. And you know what I mean? So, it was a shot.
So hold on.
Classic?
We're moving forward. Hey, look, check it out. Look, there's a million.
Let's rewind it.
1,846,963 confirmed cases of the coronavirus. Make it 964 since 2003, ladies and gentlemen. So I'd like to say, and I'd like to take this moment to announce that we are still number one in corona confirmed cases.
We're number one.
Yeah, but also in the U.S., we're just marking down on paper what we think is coronavirus. There's so many videos out on the net right now where doctors are just saying, hey, give me your symptoms. And then on the paper, they'll be able to give their opinion and say, okay, it's automatically COVID-19, which just makes zero sense because there's no real test out there right now that is given to the public that confirms that they have COVID-19. Like,
you are fake news.
They're just as far as I'm concerned, they're inflating those numbers just to create that mass hysteria.
Yes.
I actually have a family member who works out of a Kaiser in Hollywood, and technically that Kaiser has been considered a disaster center. And one of the things that he told me, was very, very interesting. First of all, the guy's working like 6 days a week. Almost, I want to say 18 hours a day. The guy is tirelessly working. So I really have to give it to him because he's definitely doing what needs to be done, and he ain't no bitch about it. But one of the very interesting things that he said while I spoke to him, and it kind of threw me off because I had never heard it from any other source, and I hadn't heard it from anywhere else. But I mean, you're talking to a guy that's like in the midst of it all, and I don't really know him to be a person to lie like that. Especially not something about this, and we're talking about what he deals with on a daily basis and what he sees. And one of the things he told me was that anytime that someone does get diagnosed with COVID-19, one of the first things that they do is that they quarantine you. Obviously, they put you in your own little room and just away from everybody else, so that you don't spread it any further. But then he said that one of the things that caught my eye, the biggest thing that just kind of shocker to me was that they're inducing comas for patients, and the way that he posed it, again, I didn't think I wasn't trying to question him. I really was just trying to take the information in, and he says that basically the idea or I guess the science behind it was that they're trying to do is they're trying to get the body to focus on fighting the disease,
the virus,
and the virus, and that was the way that they did it. Now I asked him. Wow. I'm like, do you guys have survivors? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. So it works. And I was like, okay, but what about like deaths? And he's like, well, we still have deaths. He's like, but at least people are coming out of it. And so I wonder, in my mind, right? Because he gave me that piece of information. I now see that there's people that are going in, they're being diagnosed with COVID-19, and they're not necessarily being tested the way that Loverboy said. They're not being tested, and so they're saying, hey, you have COVID-19. Now you're being quarantined, and you're being pulled away from everybody, all your entire family, you're being moved aside. Now you're being put under a coma, and you're being put to sleep that you may or may not wake up from. Yeah. And then when the body's crazy. A fact that he gave me was that their morgue is so full that they're putting bodies inside of a refrigerator right now. Like food refrigerator. Correct.
Wow, man.
One more. The bodies are infected. So because the bodies are infected, they can't give them a proper burial. You can't release the body back to the family. You have to cremate the body. You have to burn it, is what they're saying. So just a brief picture. You walk in because you've got a cough or because you've got something going on with your taste buds and you can't taste. You're automatically told that you have COVID-19 without being swab tested in any way, shape, or form. Then they're going to go ahead and put you in a coma so that you can fight it off. And let's say you don't come back from that coma. You die. You die. Your family doesn't get to see you. You're incinerated, right? You're burned to a crisp. Man, this is a fucking modern day Holocaust, and that's fucking scary.
Really?
Like they are just chopping people out. It's scary to think about it like that.
That symptom is what they've been mostly basing everything off of, which is scary because everyone's had a cold, and I know when everyone's sick and their mom makes them soup, you could hardly taste that shit. So in their mind, they're just like, I must have COVID-19 because I can't taste this fucking soup. And I can't taste it. And it automatically makes you think you have this disease that you probably don't have or you do have, and you can fight it off on your own. Because you're not a human being. And a lot of us probably had this fucking disease back in December. I don't know if you guys got sick around that time, but I was fucking sick.
I was super sick. That's another thing that I heard is like a lot of people have possibly been already infected with this virus back in 2019, late 2019, and were able to fight out the disease. And that according to an article that I read, unfortunately I don't have the article, but that it's possible that a lot of Californians, then they were speaking specifically about the Californians, have built an immunity to the disease. And so that's why a lot of people are just fucking coasting right now. They already fought off the disease, and now they don't have to worry. The only thing they have to worry about now is their loved ones. And what's really scary is if you're going to the fucking doctor and you're being misdiagnosed and then put into a coma, get the fuck out of here, man. That's crazy, dude. That's super crazy.
But the
what else
body
is crazy?
They tell you to stay home when you're sick, right? Like like you're sick, right? You go home, you rest it, you sleep it off, right? What if that it doesn't sound crazy that your body needs to like absolutely stay still and rest, and so long as you have fluids and sustenance, right?
Correct, because you are hooked up to an IV.
Yeah, you're hooked up to an IV. They like they throw nutrients
or at least
and stuff,
you
and they
should
keep it. Yeah. So you sleep it off. Your body's now fighting this particular virus. Because let's face it, the flu, right? We got to pass it. We can't kill viruses. It's just a fact right now. The body cannot kill viruses. We don't know how to kill viruses.
You build
antibiotics. Well, yeah, right. But that comes with time. Right. And I think that this is maybe just the next step in the evolution of the human species. It just so happens that it has to be right now. And the last time this happened was with the Spanish flu, at least at this particular rate. Like, I think that it could be, and it's funny because I always started with conspiracy theories and crazy shit, but I think that with this, it's kind of like you kind of just have to let it pass. And unfortunately, like there are some people with like compromised immune systems or like bad lungs, smokers, or whatever the situation may be where you have the perfect cocktail for someone to, go kaputs. Because how many times have you heard of people smoking for like 80 years and they don't die? And they continue to be like 90 something and like pack a day people. And they're just fucking tanks.
Okay. But the Spanish flu is a great example, the perfect example of misinformation there is out there, because the Spanish flu did not originate in Spain. The only reason why it's
here in the States.
Exactly. The only reason why it's called the Spanish flu is because the Spanish government was the only one willing to post on their newspapers that it was actually happening. The U.S. did not want to post that it was happening. They didn't want to cause fear. Neither did any other government. The people of Spain were the only people where they allowed their press to post anything about the fucking flu that was currently happening, where people were bleeding out of their eyes, out of their ears, out of their nose. So they literally named it the Spanish flu. So think about it. Shit. It's a fucking it's fucking insane, man. That's a perfect example of what's literally could be happening right now, Yeah. It's just insane.
It is insane. And ladies and gentlemen, if we all go missing, you know why.
Yes, exactly.
I'm just saying. That is kind of crazy.
Hey,
it's kind of crazy. it is kind of crazy, lover boy, that you brought up about something about Bill Gates. So, what is your take on like how much Bill Gates, and from what I've heard and read, as well as many other people in power, have something to do with what's going on right now? So, what's your take on Bill Gates, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, before I get into my take, I will just give facts that is actually happening right now. Bill Gates was a part of a study of a pandemic happening similar to this way before this happened. And B, Bill Gates was a part of a vaccine initiative where it called for a basically an electronic date and stamp of what vaccines you've taken over the years and what you have not taken over the years. This was really recent. It was in December of 2019, and these are facts. This is out there. This is something that you could research, and this is things that happened right before this. Like, it's an electronic stamp really that could really give you everything about yourself, like medical details, who you are, your name, everything. And this is really something that you should take into account because it's really recent to what's happening now. And now he's spouting that anyone that should go to school should have the vaccine, and you should have an electronic stamp of what vaccines you have taken. And this is the person that stands to gain the most out of all vaccines. And he was given complete rights to the COVID-19 vaccine himself. Like, people are saying that he's just, he's a good person because he's able to spend his fortune on this vaccine. But if this vaccine...
It's good PR is what it is.
Exactly. And if this vaccine were to actually happen, he stands to gain the most, way more than what he actually put into with the vaccine. So it's not that he's a good person. I feel like he has a lot to gain personally, but it's up to you to form an opinion whether it's for good or for bad. Because
I do also find it...
Go for it.
What?
Yeah,
we lost him again.
Sorry. I was going to say that I do also find it very coincidental that he very recently got that documentary on himself on Netflix, where they painted him they made him. Yeah, they just made him look like a saint, like he was a real philanthropist, developing, ways for people to shit. And like they made him seem like he was just, a god. And I watched it, and I won't lie, I saw it for myself, and I'm like, wow, man, that guy's cool. What a brain, what a brain. But we also talked about it before, where a lot of the CEOs from certain companies were just kind of stepping down and moving over and allowing other people to take control of those companies for the time being. And I think it's because they're trying to get into the medical facility. They're trying to get into that realm.
Just think about this.
This is also but this is also someone that you have to realize that lied about being friends with Epstein. At first his comment was that he wasn't really that close to him, and later he retracted his statement, and he all said himself that, you know what, I was really close to him. And you have to wonder, if you're really close to this person that's into so many things, that has his own private island for just child molestation and all this fucking horrible nonsense, like, how are you not going to know this person? Like,
think about this. Bill Gates, right, started Microsoft, or he developed Microsoft. He started it, but he also started any competition that started up around that time with against Windows or Microsoft. He would sue the fuck out of them and buy them out, and then ruin them. And then a few years later, Microsoft was sued for antitrust laws and for antitrust. And also because he was doing this particular practice, he was buying all these companies, which, you could say it's, right. Building a monopoly.
He was monopolizing, and he got sued by the government for monopolizing.
Right. Then he left.
He lost to the government, which means he's fucking maybe in debt to the government for something that we don't even know about, which is probably why he's in charge of all this,
So what happened was, when he lost that trial, that antitrust, and then that whole shit, he started looking into the medical field, and then that's when we start getting all that information that Loverboy was talking about, of him getting into pharmaceuticals and vaccines, and now and oddly enough, check this out, recently they passed this particular CARE Act, right, which we're all getting a piece of it, every working person and all that shit, right, I guess.
Yeah.
So in that particular, in the fine print, right, there is a line that reads that anyone who has COVID-19 or has gone into the doctors to get tested now has to register on a list, right? That says, oh yeah, I've had it before. So now you have to take this vaccine, and then this vaccine has a little chip in it. And now we're getting into conspiracy theory, fucking tinfoil hat shit, right? Where the microchip is inserted in you, letting people know that, hey, you had COVID-19.
Oil under here.
Yo.
Hey, on that note, Dre, you never made me a tinfoil hat, you bastard.
What happened? I said I was gonna make you a hat.
Yeah, you promised me a tinfoil hat.
Okay, I got you. I got you. I'm gonna get you a hat. I'm on it.
No, in all seriousness, look, trip out. I think it's Finland. I want to say it's Finland. I don't want to say it's Sweden. I think it's Finland. There's a country already that they're publicly, microchipping people in a way that the way that they did it is that they made it a commodity. So basically, just kind of like an Apple Pay or you know what I mean, like a Google Pay or whatnot. They're able to use this chip, and they're just able to pay for things. Like there's stores that don't even have people in it anymore. You basically just walk up to it, you grab all the things that you need, and you chip everything out. Like they have coolers at like your workplace. Your front door is opened. Your car, like they have everything set up. Yeah, they just have everything set up for this chip, and it's crazy that they were so accepting. They were just so accepting of the technology. Like they just took it like it was no big deal. And I can't imagine that that's going to be as successful here.
I don't think so. There's too many people. Yeah, fuck yeah. There's
Mark of the beast, bro.
There's too many people out here in the United States that would totally be against that. They don't want the government that much involved in their lives, and so this would be definitely something that would affect everybody pretty much. I did hear that babies have already got started with the injections of those little chips, and so that's a little scary because who knows what the future holds with that and how much control they have over you. Big Brother essentially fucking watching over you with this chip, controlling.
Let me ask a question there. Hold on. Let me ask a question right here then. Because we always talk about it. We just always talk about it. First of all, shout out to the chat. Jay Wolvie says hello to my favorite boys. Hey, what up? Let me see. Hold on here. Give me a second. Also, we have actually Grizzly. Grizzly keeps talking shit.
Say.
Keeps talking shit.
Grizzly says that Jimmy makes out with bats. He also says that Jimmy was found coughing on old viejitas on Whittier Boulevard.
Facts.
Oh yeah, that's what's up. Anyway, let's just.
Hey.
Oh man!
They didn't want to pay for my OnlyFans. They wanted freebies. So I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! You don't get anything for free."
Let's ask this question. I just want to ask a question about you guys in general because I have asked this question before while we've been on air, and it's been and the way that we've discussed it before has been more so just kind of like being this sort of half robot, with extra, incredible limbs and things like that. So Jimmy, you the question now.
All right.
That you don't mind being half a robot, right? You've said it before. You don't mind like hook me up.
Yeah. I want
chip
those
me
little
up,
implants.
You want all those implants for all that extra stuff. So knowing what we know now and seeing it, what it's starting to become, are you still willing? Like, do you still want that? You still want to be like half a computer, half a robot type deal?
Listen.
This is a serious question. Fuck everybody, all right? This is a serious question right now.
Okay.
Because I know how into it he is.
Yeah. All right. So check it out. Okay. So listen.
Listen, Linda.
Listen, Linda. I know I got like
Linda.
3 of these in me right now.
Oh.
Woo!
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wait, I need another drink. I'm
Salud,
gonna drink in a bit. One second.
Salud.
Go ahead, man.
Drink them
In a
if you
bit.
got them. This is for the health workers, right?
All
Even
right.
though they're inducing us into comas, and service people out there, all essentials and non-essentials, and for humankind. Positive vibes, y'all.
Oh boy, yes,
Yeah.
yes, positive vibes.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, now
Yeah.
to answer the question, right?
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
there nowadays, you don't have to buy the part from Best Buy that's already built, right? You can buy bits and pieces and make your own without any sort of software that can track you or trace you. Like, you can do it yourself with a couple of soldering wires, a little bit of know-how, and maybe even YouTube and some PDFs, bro. Like, you can solder your own shit together. Like,
Are you trying to tell me that you're gonna
You can solder
perform
your own
surgery
On
and
yourself.
you're gonna microchip your own anus? Get out!
to get it a vice-like grip.
A vice.
Damn, homie.
See, that's kind of scary.
Yeah,
Still,
but I
mean,
I would. Just to answer your question in short, I would, and I would just build
yeah.
it.
For sure.
I mean, well, half human, half robot people kind of already live today.
Cyborgs.
Yeah. It's already kind of happening, unless it's like really well played out CGI. But I've seen people with implants in their fucking arms that have like a whole bunch of different devices that just convenient for easier living, I guess. Honestly, I would probably do it too. Still, you're right. Everything that's going on with the chip and the government control, it's kind of taking me down a peg or two as far as like being gung ho about it. And yeah, fuck it, let's do it. So I would still have to think about it, but more than likely I'm down.
Okay. How about you, lover boy? How about you? Would you chip yourself if it gave you some kind of advantage in any way, shape, or form, being physical or mental? Would you do something like that?
Hey, the chat.
That's a tough question, because I know a lot of people might put me down for it, but I'm a firm believer in a God, and I really respect death. So I feel like if anything, if we were to reach the level where we're able to just implant maybe things in our body, we would extend our life, and maybe that's not what we're supposed to do, people are supposed to die. It's just the way it is.
Most definitely. And the thing is, with medical advances today in these day and ages, people are living longer. Statistically, our generation, obviously they're not gonna die as quickly as the previous generation, our parents and whatnot. Our grandparents, they were dead by fucking 30 or some shit like that.
We're already old back in the day.
Exactly. So with medical technology advancing, people are living longer, and it is said, it is hypothesized that eventually we're going to get to a point where people are living, a cool $150, $165. And, that would probably be common. That would be common probably in later generations, our kids, our grandkids, something like that. But still, you're right. I also have a respect for death. And honestly, I wouldn't want to live that fucking long. Have people fucking wiping my ass and changing my diaper
dude, I want someone to wipe my ass right now. Like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
you better be soft on my balls.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Hey, Layman's Word said Bionic Wang. And then, and then David said, "Are we already, in essence, a cyborg given our ability to access information?"
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
We have
It's in the palm of our hand.
He hit you with that Bionic Wang.
But if they could access, if you could access information, they could also access your information. It's like a trade-off, you know. It's gonna be two-way street right there.
It goes back to it's just having that particular online persona, like you just have that account that you access shit, right?
But if it's within your brain, they could access anything.
But why do I want to put that in my brain? That's what I'm saying. That's where you build your own shit together. If you put your own stuff together instead of buying pre-made stuff, you know what's going inside you.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
If you keep up, it's just like your computer. If you change your password, regularly, because there's nerds out there. I do it. I change my passwords regularly, and I don't my shit. Listen, knock on wood, okay? And I'm not asking anybody out there to fucking try me, okay? All you hackers out there, please leave me be.
Oh, dude,
okay?
You don't know what you've done. Please,
leave me alone. What I'm trying to say is,
I already know Dave's at home right now.
My shit's getting hacked right now. Oh shit!
Oh shit!
My bank account is at zero. Oh wait, it was already at zero. Sorry, never mind.
Hey, did they post that bionic wang?
My bionic wang. It goes inside you.
Hey man,
70% hardness now.
I mean, they have. Man, why not a fucking bionic wang? You know, pacemakers are essentially a robotic heart for
You know what? I've heard of devices that are like that for dudes who can't get it up anymore. Yeah. A friend told me.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. I was just gonna say that I'd actually like to start a band, and I want to call them Bionic Wang.
Yeah. Bionic Wang. That's a good metal name.
Who's down, bro? Like, what's up?
All right. Okay, lover boy. Let me ask you something. Not to like get too much off topic. Okay. But we do have a segment on the show. I did want to ask you. I know you believe in conspiracy theory. Do you also believe in like paranormal stuff, aliens, Bigfoot, other dimensions, things of that nature? What's your take on that?
Okay. So that's a good question. So Easter's a perfect example of what I probably believe. I believe that probably God is just a supreme being that we have no understanding back in the day. That we just perceive as being almighty, which he probably is, because it's an interdimensional being that's just so much more than us. Because there's this text that survived 2,000 years that says Enoch in the Bible, which is found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, like went up to heaven, but it describes him being taken up like in a craft. And Jesus was also taken up, resurrected, but we don't know in what. And maybe he was taken up in the same way as Enoch. So maybe it is like extraterrestrials that have been A, creating us, and B, just experimenting on this whole time. But I do believe in the paranormal, and I do believe in the extraterrestrial, because they might be what we perceive as being the almighty. You know, we don't know. Okay. There's so much. No.
There's definitely. I definitely see where you're coming from. You know what? I was always, and of course, this is just something that I thought of. Obviously, it's not fact. It's just a theory. But what if, like, going back to like COVID-19, what if the people that have been affected and survived, what if they are biologically different? Like they're the human species, and then the species that are perceived to be human but come from extraterrestrial beings, and that's why their bodies, their biology is able to deal with this stuff a little better. What do you think about that?
Well, there are people that have had this mentality before, Hitler being a huge one.
Oh, boy.
A main factor why he would experiment on Jewish children, Jewish people, and he would take their bones apart, because he wanted to find a difference his main goal was to find a difference between the Aryan race and Jews, because he believed that one derived from extraterrestrials and one was different, but he was never able to find that.
Shit.
But maybe at the time, his tools weren't sufficient to find that difference, but maybe now we would be able to. But maybe you're right. Who knows? Like, maybe some of us are different and others aren't. Like, we don't know.
And yeah, and obviously I don't know. I mean, shit. This is just off the top of my head, but you know, if you if you believe if you're a believer in extraterrestrial beings, then you have to think if extraterrestrial beings did come down to help the human race advance, like ancient aliens type of stuff, then you gotta think like, hey, maybe Quagnar got down with fucking Maria or some shit.
Yes,
So,
yes.
I mean,
I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
you know,
Quagnar.
Yeah.
Quagnar got it on, and he was just like.
And this is something that's just resurfacing now. It's like, okay, there's obviously, if you take texts for what they literally are, then you're not going to probably believe what they are. So there's things that are found in old text, like the Dead Sea Scrolls, another example, which state like angels made love to earthly women because they found them hot or attractive. And this is right. And like, this is what you just said right now. Like, maybe we're a part of that. But there are things that we just don't know for sure, because the pyramids, not too long ago, they said that they were just built 2,000 years ago. But now we're realizing that they're more than 12,000 years old, which would what we perceive as being caveman era. Like, how can you go from being caveman era to building the pyramids without extraterrestrial help, you know? So
that's a very good point. And there's a lot of ruins around the world. You know, the Machu Picchu is one of those buildings that, you know, how did they build this with the technology at hand at the time? Yes. That's the huge question. The pyramids is another one. Another thing in Peru is the Nazca lines. The Nazca lines, for those of you that don't know, they were pretty much shapes of animals that you could only see from up in the sky. And so what they're debating is, like, how did they know to draw these animals from the ground unless they had somebody from up in the sky
directing
them on what to carve. And then the question comes, well, how were they in the sky? Who was in the sky? What technology did they use? You know, and so on and so forth. Suggested that it's aliens. So if you believe in all of that stuff, like I said, you know, you had to think that maybe one of the aliens, you know, got down with one of your ancestors. And the reason that, you know, COVID-19 doesn't affect you is because, you know, you're part alien.
That makes so much sense.
I fucking knew it.
Thank you for clearing that up for me.
Yeah.
I always knew I was special, but now that you say that, fucking
now that you say that I'm like half god, half man,
that I've ever thought. Yep.
Hey, well, they say the kingdom of God lies within every man.
Yeah, no, actually, they say that the kingdom of heaven lies within woman's vagina. Or so it goes, like the Eastern. So you never know. You never know,
bro.
Yeah,
you never know, dude.
So, so since you've been talking about heaven, so you believe in heaven. I would assume you also believe in hell, and the afterlife. Okay. So the next segment that we have is a few J or nays. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you a video, and then you have to say, Jay, this is fucking... Yeah. So you're fucking pornos. And you essentially have to say, Jay, this is real, or nay, fucking bullshit. So Jay, Jay, if you could bring up those videos and play them for Loverboy, let's do this.
I'm excited. Please also cue the J or nay.
Right. Did Dre leave?
Fucking bullshit!
Now with 98% ass.
Wait, okay, so let's go ahead and play those videos, Dre, please.
I got 11 scariest moments. Oh, hold on, let me bring it up for you.
Hold on, I'm clicking it right now.
There you go. 11 scariest moments.
I fucking hate it when they get me with that one at work. Some of the bitches. Oh, and it's always fucking you too, you son of a bitch.
Those are great, man.
Phantasma Reels, something in Spanish.
All right.
Oh, okay.
La caída de Edgar.
Pays for rent with
Is
that a chupacabra?
Okay, let's go ahead and play the first one. The first one then.
All right.
So, what you see right here is somebody recording. What you see right here is somebody recording, a house.
Like Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
No. But what you see is at the door. So they're gonna show it again. They're gonna show you like what the guy sees in the camera.
All right.
They're gonna close. So I don't know if you can see at the door. I can't really see it. I'm blind.
Somebody walking up in there?
Walking by the door, but yeah. But the thing is, as they get closer, what it shows, there it goes. So they see that, and then somebody walking back in. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and pause it right there, please, Drake. Okay. So the thing is, I couldn't really see it from the distance, but once they get closer, what you see is like a little bit of a transparency, if you will, with the person that was walking by the door, supposedly walking by the door. Right. And so, I mean, the thing about it is like ghosts. What they say is, ghosts stay in the location where they were most comfortable, or if they died a tragic death, then they stay in that location, unable to leave. And that spot looks kind of fucking abandoned. And so it could be that, somebody tragically lost their life there, or, that's the place that they loved to be when they were alive, if this is real. What do you think, Loverboy?
Okay. I will say that the video could be faked, but I could only speak from my own experience, and I could say that I felt the paranormal, and I will say that I believe 1,000%. Like, my grandma has visited me in a dream and cured my stomach illness, so I believe 1,000%. I've never seen it like while I'm awake, but while I'm asleep, like I've seen that shit. So, and it worked. Like, it cured my stomach illness. So I was fine. So I believe anything that I see that might be hint at the truth, but I know there's a lot of people that fake that shit. In that video, I couldn't really tell, but it might be true. Who knows? You never know,
Yeah, no, most definitely, and that's why we bring these videos on, for everybody to make their own opinion and decide out by themselves, whether they think it's real or not. Obviously, yeah, a lot of people, they're able to fake, with CGI and all that stuff. Yeah. And I always say this, but it could just as easily be real. If you believe in this stuff, then you're more inclined probably to believe that.
But the people that fake it do deserve a fuck you though, because they just honestly do deserve a fuck you. So fuck you, people that fake it out there.
Yeah,
fuck you.
Hey man, I've been with many women, and sometimes for their self-confidence, I fake it.
Wow.
I do, so that they can feel good about themselves. That's because I'm a goddamn gentleman. Okay, that's why. All right. So, just so you know.
No.
But in all seriousness, Eddie claims that that video it's Jeff Goldblum.
Apartments.com.
He also says that he hopes that someone visits him in a dream to cure his herpes.
Wow! I hope so.
Long shot, buddy. Long shot.
Okay, so Loverboy, you said really quick, you said that you've dealt with you've experienced things before. So has it only been in dreams, or has there been other experiences that you've had?
It's only been in dreams. So I know I'm gonna sound really crazy right now, but
not on this show, buddy.
Not on this show, bro.
Yeah.
I still might sound crazy. I still might sound crazy. So I'll start with the two that actually happened. The first one was with my grandma. I've never dreamt of my grandma. She passed away a long time ago. And I had been going through this phase in my life where I just had stomach ulcers, and the doctors were giving me these medicines, and they just weren't working. My stomach was just always in constant pain, and I felt like I was dying, honestly, because I couldn't really fucking eat. So my grandma came to me in a dream. She told me to boil these specific herbs, which was rosemary and the specific type of oil, and that I would be fine. And afterwards, like, I did it for like maybe a month or two, and I was fucking great. Like, I was perfect. So that was a big thing where I just fucking started believing after that. A lot of people might argue that it was just maybe me forming this thing in my head where I automatically knew from the things I've read, like, that it might heal me. But in my head, I like to believe that it was actually her, you know? And secondly,
wow.
Yeah, and secondly was I believe that we dream the future because we've experienced maybe things we have in past lives. So I've dreamt the future maybe like 2 or 3 times, but it's almost impossible to tell when you actually are. And I think that's where deja vu kind of stems from, because you feel this feeling that you've kind of lived it before, but it's just like you've dreamt it before, you know? And that's right.
And the thing that's what's funny about like the brain is that, you know, when they say that you remember a dream, it's usually the last dream that you had throughout the night. That you've dreamt a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just you don't remember it. It's somewhere deep in your subconscious.
Yeah.
And so dream a lot of fucking porno. No, but the thing is, it's interesting that you say that you dream the future. So you say that you've dreamt something about the future, like, and then you thought it.
There's been 3 instances. Yeah, 3 instances, and nothing involving something great or grandeur. It's just been things involving myself, where I've dreamt the future, and it's come to fruition. Where it's just like this very mundane thing that you wouldn't normally think you would dream about, but considering this, like, you could only imagine what you don't remember in your dreams that might actually be happening this whole time, because there has to be a reason why deja vu happens. Deja vu literally feels like you've lived that moment before, and it's a memory, and it's like this familiar feeling, and it continues long after you realize that it's happening. So it has to be something, you know?
Right. Yeah, I'd have to attest to that. I recently had that feeling of deja vu standing in my the kitchen where I'm at now, and it just hit me. Like, it stops you, like you hit a wall, and you're like, I've seen this before, and you know exactly that it's a dream. And it's not like, oh, this particular moment happened exactly last week or the week before, but it's just something that you're like, wait a minute, I remember this very moment of this specific thing passing by, or this thing that I remember that shouldn't be there, but it is. Exactly. And it's just weird. True. It's just weird. They say that I don't know if you guys subscribe to this particular thought that we were talking about it last week, that we're in a simulation. What if like that deja vu is just like a glitch in the matrix? Like, I don't know, man.
Damn.
That one's kind of tough for me to grasp because it's just like, it makes you think that you're fake, and that just gives me complete anxiety. So I try not to like.
I'm fucking real. I'm fucking real.
That feels real, bro.
Here's some solace for you. Is that you know, we're constantly creating machines, we're constantly creating systems, we're constantly building computers, right? And so who's to say if they have any sort of conscious, right? No one knows, right? No one knows what a computer feels, or what a computer goes through, or a computer thinks. Like, no one knows that. All we know is that it does what we tell it to do. But to some degree, we're also teaching it to think for itself and do its own things, right? Like, we're teaching it that. So we are developing that. We are. Like, it's a fact. Like, I've seen robots that they're supposed to do if there are certain conditions in the environment, you are supposed to do A, B, C, D. If one condition changes, then you jump to X, Y, Z. And that's just the way that they're built. way that they're designed. And so to say that we're the same way, like we run into these things and it's fight or flight.
It's interesting because
from it, right? So everybody has a choice to make, but you know, maybe there is a little bit of that involved, where we are kind of like, you know, tailor-made and designed to do certain things in certain ways. I mean, personally, I find it interesting that a lot of us have found each other in the way we have.
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought 100%. We were going to shut down. I find it interesting that a lot of us have found each other the way that we have, you know, because there's so many factors that can draw you away to other lives and other things and other beings, and time and time again we find ourselves still mixed into the same. It's a fucking Sims, bro. It's a Sims is what it is, and it's awesome. I find that it's awesome.
Yeah, fuck yeah, 100%.
No, yeah, damn, I haven't heard that fucking sound in like forever. I just fucked up my computer screen. I don't know.
Am I allowed to go refill my drink?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
No, in fact, take off your shirt like we fucking agreed to. You asshole. You said, hey, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it shirtless. And here we are now. It's Sunday.
You are Carl Loverboy.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Come on,
I think
you can't have a name like Loverboy.
I think more people wrote in the chat, but I can't really see it. That's what I was trying to do, and I fucked up my camera. I can't even see it.
Shout out to Camo. He says, "What up, fam? Hope you're all being safe. Thank you." Shout out to Camo. Also, Layman's World said, "Robots that pass the butter." Shout out. What is your purpose?
Pass the fucking apple butter. Damn.
Hey, no, but let's stop right there for a second. Apple butter from Lucille's is fucking delicious. Hold on, stop. Hold on, let me say it slow. Apple butter.
Apple butter
from Lucille's. It's fucking delicious.
So now I'm transferring over from USD to Lucille's apple butter. You're gonna have to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. Let me just.
No lube, just apple butter.
Currency is changed.
Hey.
Yeah, are you guys taking advantage of anybody making free deliveries?
No.
Oh, dude, Uber Eats is no delivery fees. But I feel, here's my conspiracy on those. All right, on those apps that say zero delivery, they're fucking you on the other convenience fees. Like they're getting you there.
Fees.
Yes.
Yeah. They just name it a service fee.
Yep.
It was ridiculous because my roommate, he ordered like a few tacos, and it was like $20 for fucking tacos, man. Like, and it's so
dude.
Tacos too. Yes. The ones that you could eat in one fuking bite. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, I at least need 50 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to what you were talking about, Angel, regarding like AI, it is pretty interesting. We are teaching, these robots or computers to essentially think for themselves.
To react
little by little. There was a conversation that we posted. I forgot what episode, but this was episodes back about a Siri and an Alexa, I believe.
Having a conversation.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
So that was pretty interesting. That's kind of crazy, being able to have that kind of conversation with each other. And then there have been other reports of like artificial intelligence that they're working on, developing a language amongst themselves that nobody can understand. Loverboy, what do you think about that? Where do you think technology is headed within the next 50 years? If we have robots creating a language to communicate with themselves, by themselves, where do you think technology will be in the next 50 years?
Well, going back on what you've said before, where computers creating a language on their own, we've had studies where we've thought that AI wasn't communicating with each other, and they were trying to discern forever if they were actually communicating with each other, and they realized that they had been communicating with each other this whole time. And I wish I could talk more about the study because I only read the article once. But they had to shut down the computers because they realized that they had been communicating with each other for the longest time without them being able to kind of see what they actually were communicating to each other about.
Oh yeah. It turned into shorthand, and to us humans, it looked like nonsense. But to the computers, they were talking about us and like how we were doing it and how we were starting to like. They were essentially beginning to learn a little bit faster, and so it just stopped.
So they had to stop both computers, and that's just fucking scary in itself. You know?
There was also Microsoft, going back to fucking Microsoft. I think it was Microsoft developed, or I think it was IBM. Point being is one of these fancy computer companies developed an AI, and they gave it a fucking Twitter account, which was the worst thing you could possibly fucking do.
Dude, Twitter's ugly as fuck, bro.
Bro, it's like allowing a company to name. It's like Mountain Dew. Remember when Mountain Dew had that contest to name their newest flavor? They opened it up to the internet, and the title that won was Hitler Did Nothing Wrong. So you can drink Mountain Dew, the flavor Hitler Did Nothing Wrong. Now going back to Twitter, so they unleashed this AI, right? They unleashed this AI, and then 4chan and everyone else got fucking involved, and so they started throwing, Nazi propaganda and like fucking weird videos to it, and then the AI started tweeting random weird shit, almost like they made it started. They made the AI started to. They made the AI think in their particular internet way, and then they just shut down the AI. You can add her still, but they've shut down the AI. I forget what name it is, but yes, it's crazy. They're not allowing her to tweet anymore.
Yeah. A Nazi robot would not be a good idea. I know.
That's good.
Thinking about Nazi robots. Okay.
Oh boy.
All right.
Oh boy.
So, so let's go back to the videos because we're still doing Jay or Nay.
All right.
I have another video that I wanted to show.
All right.
Dre, if you could go to the next one. What's the next one? Let me see. Let's go ahead and play that one.
Spanish.
Let's go ahead and play that one. Yeah, the Spanish one.
Racist.
No, bro, you have to say racista. Este video es racista.
6.
6. Número 6.
What's happening?
Este edificio tiene fantasmas.
El edificio es el fantasma.
El edificio tiene fantasmas sobre adentro.
So if you look in there, hay otro.
It's Quasimodo.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Let's play that again. Let's play that again. Let's go back.
Oh my god. OMG.
Let's go back.
Oh my god.
Okay. So if you pay attention to the door, what you're gonna see is like a little cloudy figure going by the door.
Morning dew.
And if you see,
look at that.
Wow.
The sun came up.
Fog. That's some fog, bro.
Okay. So, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking at first too, but then I looked a little closer, and it's kind of hard to see because we're on fucking Skype. But if you look a little closer, there is a bit of a shape to the figure, and so
very hard.
I don't know. Okay. And then it starts fucking appearing right at the door.
Wow. I don't know, bro. I don't know about that.
It's a wizard taking out.
Okay, well, so I'm assuming that's a nay.
No, that's a nay. For sure, that's a nay right there. That's a nay.
Good.
Hey, what was your? Hey, what was? What was the hint, bro? The unanimous laugh or
that shit looked like kind of like fucking Slimer a little bit. Like it had like the arms stretched out and shit.
Like I saw it do something like this, right? Like,
yeah.
And then it just.
Okay,
that was good. Sorry.
I like that.
Let's go to the next one. All right,
Here we go.
what is that?
This was his five scariest videos, real ghosts, five ghosts in a cemetery.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead.
Is that
Play that shit.
2 girls, 1 cup, 5 ghosts in a cemetery?
Partidos políticos, revistas, televisión y últimamente en internet sus anécdotas con el fenómeno ovni. Este es instruido por la ufología, uno de los estudios que se lleva a cabo desde finales de las décadas de los 40. Desde entonces, miles de aficionados como expertos han compartido en periódicos, revistas, televisión y últimamente en internet sus anécdotas con el fenómeno ovni.
I don't feel scared, I'll tell you that. I'm a little aroused,
fue grabado
to be
en
quite
una
honest.
granja en Estados Unidos. El video
What
es
the fuck
bastante
is that?
antiguo y fue grabado por un hombre que pasaba por
So
este
check this
lugar.
out.
Lo que pudo captar ha causado
Space.
You want to keep playing or go?
Hold on. No, keep going. Well, hold on.
de ufólogos.
So what you're gonna see is
Is that
what looks like orbs in a hayfield, and then what you're gonna see is what looks like those crop circles forming with those orbs flying around.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and play this.
Bastante intriga.
Bastante.
His voice is very arousing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Okay. Okay.
Bastante intriga.
Pero ¿por qué tienen que poner esa música? O sea...
That's me, sorry.
No hay necesidad de poner esa
Tres
música tan
objetos no
traumática.
identificados se dejaron ver por un instante y estos dejaron a su paso
Wow.
unos símbolos muy extraños.
Digo yo.
Esta simbología ya se ha visto en varias ocasiones en el transcurso de los años. Pero, ¿qué crees que será real este documento?
Tantos años.
Bro, this is
All right,
making me
all right.
feel weird.
En verdad,
So his
espérate.
His
Wait,
voice is
wait.
very fucking arousing.
Wait.
His voice
Wait.
is very. Vamos a tener
Honestly, that's what
Look.
flies look like in my motion sensor camera in the light.
There you go.
Like, for
Wait.
real.
I'm like more interested in his voice and
Yeah.
like finding more videos with him doing narration. Like
Seriously.
anything. Like ahora vamos a tirar la basura. Vamos a sacar el puesto para afuera.
Ahí está.
I see
Para lavar los trastes.
I see the official voice of
Vamos
Super
a lavar
Mario
los
coming up.
trastes.
Hey, we're all talking over each other. Hold on. Okay, so
It's the last.
I mean, that was two orbs supposedly forming two orbs or three orbs actually forming a fucking crop circle. Forming a crop circle. Okay, now as far as Loverboy's, what he said was it looks like flies on your camera sensor. Or, I've never seen two flies go in unison like that. It's usually just one fly. So that's what I have to say against that theory. That of course, it could be a fly. Obviously, it could be. It also could be that these motherfuckers came down and they were fucking with that fucking.
Okay,
fetal.
wait. Here's my question though. My question to you, Jason, is what's your opinion on crop circles? What do they mean and what could they mean for us? Are they signals for us or are they signals for them?
Honestly,
Damn.
So
Asking the real shit.
My opinion on crop circles is I always thought it was just spaceships landing in those fields and setting those symbols. I saw this video, and that kind of changed it. And you said that it could be symbols for, if they are symbols, I'm thinking they are symbols for them. Marking this area as the landing spot, or this is where whatever they're gonna fucking do, this is where it starts. This is where we all meet up, potentially. That's what crop circles may mean to me. It could be, them writing their language, and that's their signal for whatever the fuck it is that they're gonna do. I have seen crop circles faked. And so obviously not all crop circles are real. I have seen how it's done. With this video, it could be, again, it could be modified. There's always that possibility. And somebody fucked with it and created those crop circles. I just don't know how, because I don't fuck with video editing. So I mean, it could be real, it could not be real. But that's why I bring these videos, because it just depends on what you think, and if you have anything else to say to support for or against it, then that's great.
Okay, crop circles is a huge debate, just because it's been kind of I don't want to say debunked, but it's been largely speculated of how they actually do it, which is just the wood board, which they don't break the crops, and we've all seen it. So there's just this huge area of debate whether it's been a hoax, just like the Bigfoot theory, or it's actually real. And I believe some of them actually are real, but the huge debate is what they actually are. Maybe they're just warnings for us, or maybe what we talked about earlier about the Nazca lines, maybe they just tie in together, So who really knows what's going on? Maybe they're just...
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, well, and that's why I'm saying, like, us as human beings, we see a crop circle and we see a beautiful design, but we're not really gonna know what it means. Like, if there is meaning to it, we're gonna take it as an artistic view, and we're just gonna be like, oh, that's beautiful. But there could be a meaning in their language and their writing. And again, if these are real, there could be some sort of there could be some sort of meaning that crop circles have more to them than to us.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
But what do you guys think?
I think really quickly, briefly, because I think we've got to scram and skedaddle. But I think quickly that I don't know, some crop circles. Although he said there's some debate to it. I think of them kind of like these place markers, sort of kind of like, hey, this is where we just passed by. Let's make sure to mark it so we know when we're making our way back that this is one we've already been to.
What about this with like extraterrestrial gangs where they're like, this is my hood, and then just
you get what I'm saying? This here's my shift. This here's Kang in this bitch, bro. This Kang in this bitch.
Get the chopper, bro.
So that's just what it comes down to. Like, ultimately, it's all kinds of speculation of what it is, and it really depends on how it came to be. Most of the time, these things are found on like farms, right? Like, why isn't it found in a forest?
Yeah,
because it's found on a farm where people have the time to do whatever they want on their own land, versus it being found, like in the middle of a forest or an Amazon or anything like that. So I wonder, I do wonder what it might be, what it could be. But in the case where the owner of the property is actually truly dumbfounded, who's to know what the meaning behind it is? Because at the end of it all, it's hieroglyph and we can't read it. And unless we see enough of it, we'll...
Exactly. Honestly, shout out to the movie Signs, because it's a great fucking movie and it explains crop circles like in a cool way. But I just don't like that the aliens cannot open doors in that movie. Like, what the fuck happened there? No sense.
Well, what if that? What if those are like that particular civilization, right? Like, for example, we don't know how to use a few things from the 50s, right? Like tools or whatever sort of new thing or whatever sort of. Think about it. You know how to use an awl? Do you know what an awl is?
I do not know what an awl is.
Exactly. It's a drill before you. It was a drill before a drill. It was a hand awl, and that's how you made drills before.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
okay,
an awl.
If I know how to get from one point of the galaxy to another, then I'm gonna be able to open a fucking wooden pantry door. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be able to just to knock that shit over with my technology. It's just like
I guess if they had interdimensional Google or whatever the fuck, he'd be like, "What the fuck is this? Scan this fucking thing and tell me what the fuck this is."
What is door? What is door?
What is
human
fucking
door?
Well, I guess we'll never know. But with that, we're gonna have to unfortunately end this show. Maybe one day they will figure it out. But thank you for coming in, man, and joining us on the show. We really appreciate it. Can you tell us where they can find you?
What's happening?
All right, we're still trying to figure this shit out. Okay, so thank you for joining. But can you tell us like where people can find you? Social media or anything like that?
All right. Well, anybody can find me at loverboymusic.com or just loverboy on any social media. I'm there. So thank you guys for so much for having me over. I fucking appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you guys thinking. Everybody's way of thinking is different, and I feel like we're all in a point where we could think for ourselves right now, and we have this ability to just kind of express our thoughts through social media and everything, and I feel like that's important. Everybody should be able to express themselves, and you guys give a platform for you to be able to do that. So thank you guys. You guys are fucking dope. Honestly, appreciate you guys a lot. Like, you guys are dope.
Hey, man, we'll hang out once this is over. We'll all have a beer or something. We appreciate you coming on, man. And as always, you can find us on Facebook at Official Jag Show, on Twitter at Official Jag Show, and on Instagram, of course, The Jag Show. Always on the Super Audio Network, superaudionetwork.com, and Super Audio Network YouTube channel. Hit that like and subscribe button. And
hell yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Fuck yeah. Cheers. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Medicines and all technology, that the world is full of stranger things that we can comprehend. Fool creatures from another world and conspiracies, my friend. Tell me more about the chemicals that are active in our brains when we feel the thing that we call love ties is up and chains on the